The Galactic Assembly floated in a giant sphere of light. It was as wide as a planet and filled with voices. Alien delegates from every corner of the galaxy sat in their floating chairs. Their eyes glowed, their claws tapped on consoles, their wings twitched. They were here to talk about Earth. The image of a small blue planet hovered in the center of the chamber. "This," said Chancellor Valor, her voice echoing, "is the world called Earth, a young race, primitive, quiet. It has refused every offer of contact." A dozen alien voices spoke at once. Are they afraid? Do they even have faster than light? Travel? Bah. They probably don't know how to make fire. The hall rippled with laughter. Valor raised a long, thin hand. They ignored our envoys. They ignored our signals. They even destroyed one of our observation probes. Still they remained silent. An insectoid ambassador clicked his mandibles. If they refuse to join the alliance, they are vulnerable. We should act now. Take their resources before someone else does. A hulking reptilian warlord slammed his fist. I say we annex the planet. Split it between our fleets. Let Earth be silent when we strip it clean. Most of the delegates cheered, but one voice cut through the noise. Silence is not always weakness. All eyes turned to an old scholar. She floated forward in her cracked hover chair, her frail arms clutching an ancient data slate. Her name was historian Eric Venn. In the old archives, she said, there are records of silent planets, worlds that spoke nothing, did nothing, until they burned half the galaxy to ash. A young diplomat sneered. Old stories. Fairy. Tales for hatchlings. Eric Venn's pale eyes flashed. So you say, but remember, a predator does not roar before it strikes. It listens, then it kills. The chamber fell quiet for a moment. Then laughter returned louder than before. Enough of this superstition, growled the reptilian warlord. I will lead the fleet to Earth myself. Valor raised her hand again. All in favor of annexing Earth, say I. The voices rang out as one. The galaxy had voted for war. The fleets mobilized across the stars. Armadas formed like storms. Warships the size of cities moved into position. They carried weapons strong enough to crack moons. The alien warlord. General Craxus addressed his soldiers from his flagship. Earth will fall within a day, he said. This will be an easy conquest. The humans have no fleets, no defenses, no allies. We will show them what happens to those who ignore the alliance. The soldiers roared their approval, but as the fleet approached, saw the humans' home star, something strange happened. A small object appeared on their sensors. Sir, said a technician, we've detected what's moving toward us at impossible speed. Destroy it, Craxus barked. But before they could fire, the probe stopped. It was tiny. Barely larger than a fighter craft, its hull was black, absorbing all light. Strange symbols glowed faintly on its surface. Scan it, ordered Craxus. Impossible, the technician said. The probe is blocking all scans. It's reading us instead. The probe spun slowly in place. Then, without warning, it sent a signal. The message flashed on every screen. In every language known to the galaxy, we see you. Silence filled the command deck. Craxus growled. The signal. Destroy the probe. But as the guns locked on, the probe exploded. Not in a normal explosion. There was no fire, no shockwave. It simply vanished, leaving behind a faint shimmer in space. Target destroyed. Right. The weapons officer said nervously. Good, said Craxus. But deep down, he felt a cold knot. In his stomach, the vanishing fleets hours later. The first reports came in. The border fleets, the ones stationed closest to Sol, had stopped responding. At first, command thought it was a comms failure. But then scout ships found only wreckage. Whole armadas had been destroyed. There were no survivors. No distress calls. Just fields of drifting metal. Torn apart by weapons no one recognized. At the edge of human space, a lone frigate captain sent a frantic message before her ship went silent. We can't see them. They're invisible. No heat signatures. No energy readings there all around us. The transmission ended in static. The silent planet speaks back in the assembly. Panic spread like wildfire. How can this be? Cried a diplomat. Humans don't have this kind of power. They don't even have warp drives, shouted another. Urakaven's voice was soft, but it carried through the chamber. You thought their silence was weakness. You thought their quiet meant ignorance. You were wrong. She raised her ancient data slate. Perhaps Earth was not silent because it was weak. Perhaps it was silent because it was listening. On the edge of Sol, a surviving alien pilot drifted in space. Ship was torn open, floated helplessly, staring at the blackness. Then he saw them, shapes moving in the dark. Human ships. Hundreds. Of them, sleek, black, silent. One drifted close. Its hull bore no markings except for two glowing human words. Be silent. The pilot screamed as his comms cut out. Then there was only silence. The holonet broadcast spread across the galaxy like wildfire. In every star system, trillions of beings tuned in. Massive screens and city skylines flashed. The image of General Craxus, the warlord who commanded the fleet sent to conquer Earth. Reptilian face filled the screen. Scars crisscrossed his scales. His deep voice growled as he addressed the galaxy. Earth is weak, Craxus said, silent, defenseless. By tomorrow, the humans will kneel before the Galactic Council, or they will burn. Aliens cheered in pleasure. Merchants made bets on how many hours the primitive humans would last. Soldiers toasted in warships orbiting distant suns. But far above, Craxus's flagship, a monstrous dreadnought named Dominion's cloth of stars, seemed to shift at first. No one noticed. Craxus slammed his clawed fist on the podium. I promise. You, this Earth's silence ends now. Their cities will become ash. Their people are slaves. Their world suddenly. Alarms blared on the flagship. Red lights flared. Officers on the bridge shouted in panic. Admiral, we've got the... Screen shook violently. Behind Craxus, fires erupted. Panels exploded in a storm of sparks. What is this? Craxus roared. Report. Unknown vessels, screamed an officer. Can't see them. They're cloaked. The holofeed cut to static. Every screen in the galaxy went black. 4. The first time in centuries, the galaxy fell silent. Panic across the stars in the assembly. Chaos broke out. Is this some kind of trick? Shouted one delegate. Where is the fleet? Cried another. Possible. The humans couldn't even send a message. How could they attack? Historian Eric Venn spoke softly from her corner. Perhaps you never understood Earth. Silence is not weakness. It is warning. But no one listened. Within hours, new reports began flooding in. Survivors spoke of horrors beyond comprehension. Stories of invisible hunters on the outskirts of Sol. A damaged alien cruiser limped home. Its captain, barely alive, told his story to the council. They came out of nowhere. We saw nothing. No ships, no energy signatures, just sudden fire. They tore through our hulls like paper. Entire fleets vanished in seconds.
What weapons
did they use? Demanded a counselor. The captain's eyes were wide with terror. Weapons? No. They were predators. Disbelief and division, the galaxy split into factions. Some dismissed the survivors' tales as cowardice or hallucination. Impossible, said the war minister. Humans lack the science for cloaking or quantum weapons. They barely left their own star system. But others were not so sure. What if they were never primitive? Whispered an insectoid admiral. What if Earth was hiding? The council voted again. They would not retreat. Instead, they would send more ships. Thousands more. They would crush Earth completely. Retaliate, shouted the chancellor. Show no mercy. The burned star system 2 days later. The retaliation fleets arrived in the Vera Systema staging ground near Sol, and there was nothing. No fleets, no stations, no planets. Every world in the system had been wiped clean. An advanced scout shuttled down to the charred surface of Vera 3. Ash filled the air. The ground was scorched black. Then the crew saw it. A massive symbol burned deep into the planet's crust. 2 words in glowing, molten letters, "We see you." The humans had left their message. Back in the assembly, fear spread like wildfire. "They've wiped out a star system. How can we fight an enemy we can't see? Are we next?" Historian Eric Venn spoke again. "You thought you were alone in the dark. You were wrong. Humanity was waiting. The first fires have come." The chamber fell silent. In the void beyond Sol, 1,000 black human warships drifted like shadows. No lights, no sound, no mercy. And then they moved. The strike team floated silently in the black void. Their ship, a sleek alien cruiser, crept toward a massive object drifting between the stars. "Visual contact confirmed," said Lieutenant Vark, his insectoid eyes glowing in the dim cockpit. "It's human. Derelict. No power signatures." The object was huge. It was shaped like a blade, a black spearhead that reflected no light. The alien team called it Ghost Ship Alpha. "It looks dead," whispered Private Ryle. "Stay focused," growled Commander Threx. His armored tail swayed behind him. "Command wants this wreck examined. You find out how these humans fight, how they hide, and how to destroy them." The team docked. Magnetic clamps locked the cruiser to the dark hull. "Helmet seals," Threx ordered. "Weapons ready. No mistakes." The airlock hissed open. They stepped into darkness. Inside the ghost ship, the corridor was cold and silent. Lights flickered faintly along the walls, casting long shadows that seemed to move. The team advanced slowly, weapons raised. "Strange architecture," muttered Vark. "No alien style I've seen." "It feels wrong," said Reel, his voice shaking. "Quiet," Threx snapped. "Scanners up." Vark frowned at his wrist display.
"Ats."
"Odd. No readings. It's like the ship is absorbing our scans." "Impossible," said Threx. "Keep moving." They passed through narrow passages lined with strange black panels. Some were cracked open, revealing veins of glowing blue liquid. "It's like this ship is alive," Rel whispered. "Enough," Threx barked. "Humans don't have living ships. Stop imagining things." But deep in his chest, even Threx felt it, the heavy weight of unseen eyes watching them. The disappearances began. The team entered a massive chamber. Broken consoles lined the walls. Wires hung like vines, split into pairs. Threx ordered, "Sweep the area. Report any data you find." Vark and Rael moved left. The others stayed near the entrance. Minutes passed. "Sector clear," Rael said over comms. Nothing here but dust and weight. A strange clicking sound echoed through his helmet. "Vark, do you hear that?" Silence. "Vark." Rael turned. His partner was gone. The only thing left was Vark's rifle, floating in zero gravity. "Commander?" Rael shouted. "Vark's gone." Just a long, low growl came from behind him. Rael spun, too. Glowing blue eyes stared back at him in the dark. Then he screamed. The comms went dead. "Panic in the dark, Team Beta report." Threx barked. No response. "Beta, do you copy?" Nothing but static. Private Jen's claws trembled on his rifle. "Something's here with us. Stand your ground," Threx shouted. "Switch to thermal." The team activated thermal vision. The screen showed nothing. Commander Zune whispered, "There's no heat, no movement. It's like we're alone." But they weren't alone. From deep in the shadows, something moved. A black shape detached from the wall. It was massive, silent, and fast. Contact, contact. Zune fired wildly. His shots hit only empty air. Then Zune vanished, yanked into the darkness. His rifle clattered against the floor. Zujan Threx roared, "Show yourself, coward." The only reply was a voice, calm, cold, human. "We told you. We see you." The hunter Threx ran. He sprinted down the corridor, claws scraping metal, his tail smashing into walls as he fled. Behind him came footsteps, slow, deliberate thump, thump. "Show yourself." He screamed, firing wildly over his shoulder. A voice whispered in his ear, though no one was there. You thought we were prey? You thought wrong? The last Server Rex stumbled into the airlock. His breathing was ragged. He slammed the emergency beacon. A red light flashed as his ship's comes opened. "This is Commander Threx," he shouted. "They're here. Humans, they're not what we thought." "Commander," crackled a voice on the other end. "Report." "Happening," Threx's voice broke. "We were wrong." Earth wasn't silent. They were listening. Suddenly, the airlock door slammed shut. A pair of glowing blue eyes stared at him from the darkness. The human voice spoke one last time. "Now it's your turn to be silent." Threx screamed as the transmission cut to static. Back in the Galactic Assembly, the Council replayed Threx's final transmission. "We were wrong." Earth wasn't silent. They were listening. The chamber erupted in panic. "They're hunting us. They're everywhere. We fight an enemy that sees us, but we can't see them." Historian Eric Venn closed her eyes and whispered, "Predators hunt in silence. And now, we are the prey." Far from the assembly, in the black void, a fleet of human warships drifted. No lights, no signals, no mercy, and they were moving closer. The Grand Assembly was in chaos. In the massive glowing chamber, thousands of alien leaders shouted over one another. Tentacles waved, wings flapped, claws banged on tables. "The humans are monsters," cried a feathered diplomat. "They are." Predators, hissed a reptilian general. "They wiped out our fleets, our colonies, our systems," howled a furry ambassador. A deep, booming voice silenced the room. They were supposed to be primitive. The voice belonged to Chancellor Valor. Her glowing eyes swept the council. Every report, every scan, every probe said Earth was harmless. "So how?" The question hung heavy in the air. An old historian, Eric Venn, loaded forward in her cracked hover chair. "They were never primitive," she whispered. "They were hiding, waiting, watching." Gasps rippled through the chamber. "Impossible," shouted a young commander. "If they were advanced, why didn't they speak? Why didn't they expand?" "Predators don't roar before they strike," Eric Venn said softly. "They wait in silence. And then they kill the message before another word could be spoken." The lights in the assembly flickered. Every screen in the chamber went black. Every comm channel across the galaxy went dead. Then, a voice, calm, cold, and unmistakably human, spoke. "We are the Terran Hegemony." The voice echoed in every star system, on every ship, on every planet. "Your galaxy is broken. You kill, you enslave, you consume. You laugh at the weak and prey on the silent." The assembly watched in horror as a glowing map of the galaxy appeared in the air. One by one, star systems blinked red. "We see you, and we will burn it clean." The voice paused. "Comply, or perish." The map vanished. The screens went dark again, and the silence that followed. No one dared speak. Fractures in the galaxy. Within hours, factions formed. Some races smaller. Weaker ones sent secret messages to Earth. "We surrender," said the insectoid Creel. "Spare our worlds. We will serve you." Others joined them, desperate to survive. But the great powers of the galaxy, the warlords, the conquerors, the prideful empires, refused to bow. "Cowards," roared General Krex's replacement. "We will unite and crush the humans." The Galactic Council voted to form a massive alliance. Every fleet, every weapon, every soldier would be thrown against Earth. "This is no longer about conquest," said Valor. "It is survival." The war begins. The united fleets launched from hundreds of systems. They burned toward Sol with vengeance in their hearts. "We will take the fight to them," the fleet commander declared. "We will end this Terran threat before it spreads further." But as the armadas entered human-claimed space, strange things began to happen. Ships vanished from sensors. Fleets broke apart as their navigation systems failed. Invisible enemies struck from nowhere, tearing apart entire squadrons before melting. "Back into the void? They're toying with us," whispered an admiral. "The fall of the galactic capital far away? On the glittering world of Helios Prime?" The galactic capital alien citizens watched in terror as news came in. The humans were winning. Suddenly, the skies above the capital darkened. Shadows moved in orbit. Massive angular ships blotted out the sun. Helios Prime's planetary shields flared to life. Cannons rose from the surface. The citizens cheered. "They can't break the shield," said the planetary governor confidently. "No one ever has." Then, the shield turned red. It wasn't being destroyed. It was being rewritten. Lines of code scrolled across the governor's control screens. Human letters. And then the shield dropped. The human speaks. Massive machines descended from orbit. They weren't ships. They were walking war machines, taller than mountains, their surfaces covered in glowing blue veins. One of them stepped onto a surface with a crash that split the ground. It spoke not with a voice, but with a booming signal that entered every mind on the planet. "We are the Terran Hegemony. Compliance is no longer an option." Screams erupted in the streets. The planetary governor fell to his knees in the assembly chamber. Valor watched helplessly as the capital burned. This is the end," she whispered. But Eric Venn shook her head slowly. "No," she said. "This is only the beginning. Now the humans will remake the galaxy in their image." Far above Helios Prime, the human fleet waited in silence. And then, as if on cue, they moved. The night was calm on the planet KAV Rax-7. Children with glowing scales chased each other under the twin moons. Their laughter echoed across the fields. Families watched from their homes, sipping warm drinks as the stars shimmered above. Then the stars began to move. At first no one noticed. A single point of light streaked across the sky like a shooting star. Then another. Then hundreds. "Look," one child said, pointing upward. "Fireworks." But the adults froze. Those weren't fireworks. High above, invisible human warships dropped out of orbit, their massive cannons glowing faintly. The sky turned white. Blinding light bathed the fields as orbital strikes rained down. The ground shook. Cities crumbled. Planetary shields flared for an instant, then died without warning. The peaceful night became fire, and Ash.KAV Rax-7 was gone in minutes. Far above, aboard a silent Terran warship, a human officer spoke only 2 words. Objective complete. The systematic dismantling across the galaxy. Chaos spread. One by one, key systems fell. Planetary shields, the pride of 1,000 civilizations, failed within seconds as human AI viruses infected their grids. Vast alien space stations went dark and drifted lifeless into the void. Supply routes were cut with precision. Cargo ships disappeared into the black, leaving entire worlds to starve. Alien admirals screamed in frustration as their fleets were ambushed and annihilated by human forces they could not even detect. "They know our movements before we do," cried a lizard-like strategist. "Like they're reading our minds." The fall of resistance. The Grand Coalition fleet of 5,000 ships gathered near the core systems. "This time, strike back," declared Admiral Soth. "We will make the humans bleed." But as they prepared to launch, their communications failed. Their targeting systems locked up, and then the human ships appeared, sleek, black, and silent. They were outnumbered 10-1. It didn't matter. Orbital kinetic weapons fired from impossible distances, tearing through battleships like paper. Invisible drones infiltrated enemy hulls and detonated them from within. In just 4 hours, Coalition fleet was gone. The only survivor was an alien pilot drifting in space, muttering over and over, "Silent. They're so silent." The growing terror on surviving planets. Alien citizens lived in fear. Every sound in the sky, every flicker of light brought panic. Parents whispered warnings to their children. "Don't look at the stars. The humans might be watching." Governments collapsed. Whole species surrendered preemptively, hoping for mercy that never came. The humans didn't speak. They simply dismantled everything. The scientist's discovery in a hidden lab on a dying world. An alien scientist named Jara worked frantically. "We need to understand," she told her team. How did we underestimate them so badly? How did they rise so fast? She studied intercepted human data, fragments of code and star maps. Then she found it. Her eyes widened in horror. By the stars, she whispered. The humans hadn't been ignorant. They hadn't been weak. They had been watching for centuries. Earth's probes had slipped unseen into alien systems. They had mapped every trade route, every fleet position, every weakness. They hadn't been silent out of fear. They had been silent because they were preparing. Jara tried to send a warning to the Galactic Assembly, but before her message left the system, the lights in her lab flickered. Her screens went black, and then a human voice spoke over her. Comes. You were not supposed to see this. She turned slowly to the window. A massive black ship hovered over her city. Its surface glowed faintly, with blue veins and strange symbols crawled across its hull as the first strike hit. Jara screamed. Then there was only silence. The council chamber was buried deep beneath the crust of a dead planet. Only a handful of alien leaders remained. Once they had ruled empires, now they huddled in the shadows like prey. Holograms flickered in the dim light as they spoke in hushed voices. This is our last chance, said Chancellor Valor, her voice sharp but brittle. We strike with everything we have left, Insectoid General hissed. We've lost half the galaxy already. Our fleets, our armies, they're all gone. We still have weapons, growled a reptilian warlord. If we hit Sol directly, maybe, just maybe, we can stop them. Another leader whispered. We have to try. If we don't, there will be nothing left. The chamber fell silent. Then the lights flickered. One by one, the holograms vanished into static. A cold human voice whispered across the comms. We know where you are. The leaders froze. Impossible, hissed the warlord. This place is shielded, hidden. The voice spoke against, calm, deliberate. You cannot hide from us. We are coming. The last fleet, far above, in orbit, the galaxy's final fleets. Assembled thousands of ships scavenged from the remnants of fallen empires, drifted in formation. This is it, said Admiral Korath, staring at the tactical display. Every ship, every weapon, you throw it all at them. The fleet surged forward, engines blazing as they prepared to jump to Sol. But as they reached the edge of human-claimed space, the stars seemed to move, sir, said a terrified officer. Contacts everywhere. Hundreds of black Terran warships uncloaked in perfect formation. And behind them, something bigger. A colossal structure drifted into view. It wasn't a ship, it was a mobile fortress, surface bristling with weapons. Humanity's final warning came a deep synthetic voice. Leave or burn. The fleet didn't leave. The battle begins. The galaxy's forces fired first. Missiles streaked toward the Terran ships. Plasma beams lit up the void. Massive dreadnoughts unleashed everything they had. For the first time, the humans took losses. Confirmed hits. An alien officer shouted. 2 Terran destroyers down. But the humans didn't retreat. They kept coming. Silent, relentless, precise. Black ships darted between enemy formations, slicing through cruisers like knives. Swarms of AI drones boarded alien vessels and disabled them from within. The aliens fought desperately. Hold the line, Korath roared. Don't let them break us. But it wasn't enough. One by one, the alien ships exploded in silent fireballs. The Terran fortress fired a single shot. A beam of pure energy tore through the heart of the fleet, splitting a dozen capital ships in half. The safe house breached deep. Underground, the surviving leaders watched the battle in horror. They're winning, whispered Valor. Even now, they're winning. Suddenly, the room went dark. The floor shook as distant explosions echoed above. Shields are failing, screamed a technician. They've found us. The doors to the chamber exploded inward. A squad of human soldiers stepped through, clad in black armor, their eyes glowing faint blue through their visors. The leader shrank back as one of them stepped forward. He removed his helmet, revealing a calm human face. His voice was cold, but not unkind. It's over. He raised his rifle. Surrender, or burn. The camera panned out. Across the galaxy, human warships hovered over every major world, orbital cannons primed. Drones deployed, AI systems rewriting planetary defenses. For the first time in history, the galaxy was silent. The sky burned red over T-Rix-9. Alien civilians screamed as black clouds of smoke rose from shattered towers. Families huddled in the streets, clutching children with glowing eyes and scaled skin. Above them, the stars disappeared. A massive human ship so large it blotted out the twin suns descended silently. Its surface crawled with strange blue lights that pulsed like veins. "They're here," whispered an old alien, tears streaming down his wrinkled face. Moments later, hundreds of black drones poured from the ship like a swarm of insects. Their eyes glowed faintly as they scanned the burning city below. This world resisted. A cold human voice echoed from the drone's speakers. "Known compliance is unacceptable." The drone's weapons charged. The old alien closed his eyes as fire rained from above. The fall of the galaxy across the stars. Chaos reigned. Planets that had surrendered, early pledging loyalty to the Terran Hegemony, were spared. Worlds that resisted were burned. Entire cities vanished in orbital bombardments. Fleets were dismantled. Industries erased. Humanity didn't just conquer. They cleansed. The new galactic order on Helios Prime, the former capital of the Galactic. Council Terran commanders oversaw reconstruction. The old alien leaders were gone. Some fled. Most were executed. In their place, a human AI named Nemesis broadcast new laws across every system. Slavery is abolished. War is forbidden. Trade routes will now operate under Terran oversight. Your galaxy is broken. We will burn away the rot and build something better. Some aliens cheered. "We were nothing before Earth saved us," said a Creel merchant, now thriving under Terran protection. But others whispered in secret. "Better to burn free than live as a pet," hissed a rebel in the shadows. The Resistance lives deep underground on a hidden moon. A small band of alien rebels gathered. Around a flickering table sat warriors. Spies and scientists from a dozen fallen empires. "The galaxy has fallen." "So," said one, a horned warrior with a scarred face. "But not all of us bow." An insectoid scientist clicked her mandibles nervously. "What chance do we have? The humans see everything." "Not everything," said a calm voice from the corner. The others turned. It was Kale, the most wanted rebel in the galaxy. He leaned forward, placing a small glowing device on the table. "This is our last weapon," Kale said. "One chance to stop Earth before they rewrite the stars forever." The device hummed softly, its strange energy casting shadows on the walls, far above. In orbit around the hidden moon, a human stealth ship drifted silently inside. A single soldier watched the rebels through their scanner. He touched his cum. "Command, this is Hunter 27. I found them orders," came the cold reply. The soldier's lips curled into a faint smile. "I'll handle it." He loaded his weapon. The Resistance's secret base shook as alarms blared. Kale stood at the center of the command chamber, staring at the glowing device in front of him. "This is it," he said, his voice steady. "The last weapon, the one thing the humans can't stop." The supernova bomb thrummed with energy. Designed by the galaxy's greatest minds, it would unleash a star-killing wave, vaporizing Earth's fleet in a single blinding burst. "Arm it," Kale ordered. Technicians moved quickly, their hands shaking. The bomb's core lit up, growing brighter and brighter until it felt like a new sun had been born in the room. Kale allowed himself a small smile. Now humanity will finally... Then the light vanished. The bomb went cold. The room fell silent, and then a human voice whispered. Through every speaker, calm and cold, "We already disarmed it." The collapse of hope panic swept through the rebel base. "How did they?" a scientist screamed. "They knew," Kale whispered. "They knew before we even built it." On their screens, the entire base's systems shut down, one by one. Lights blinked out until only darkness remained. Far above, a human warship descended silently through the clouds. The final strike in space. The last ragged fleets of the rebellion faced the Terran Hegemony's armada. "Hold your ground," shouted Admiral Varen, a scarred reptilian veteran. But deep down, he knew it was hopeless. Terran ships, black, sleek, silent, moved with machine precision. The first barrage came. Alien ships broke apart like glass under human firepower. Escape pods launched but were scooped up by Terran drones before they could flee. The last resistance fleet lasted 12 minutes. The declaration in Helios Prime. Human soldiers marched through the rebuilt city streets. Alien banners burned as new black flags rose high over government buildings. A single massive hologram flickered to life in every system of the galaxy. It showed a human woman in black armor, flanked by AI drones. Her voice echoed everywhere. "The galaxy belongs to the Terran Hegemony now. Your wars are over, your slavery is over, your empires are over. You will obey the new order." Some alien leaders knelt, swearing loyalty. Others fled into uncharted space, vowing to return one day. Most planets stayed silent, too afraid to speak. The galaxy burned, cities rebuilt under Terran rule. Trade resumed, now tightly controlled. By human AI, the galaxy was at peace, but it was a peace of fear. On the outer worlds, parents whispered to their children, "Never anger the Terrans. Never fight them." Silence from Earth means the galaxy burns. Far away, on the quiet, blue marble of Earth, no celebrations erupted, no lights flashed in orbit, no leaders made speeches. Earth was silent again. But this time, every civilization in the galaxy understood silence from Earth did not mean weakness. It meant they were watching, waiting, and if the galaxy dared to rise again, asterisk, 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 the purr. Rebellion launches its final weapon. Humanity disarms it without lifting a finger. Now silence falls over the galaxy, but silence from Earth is the deadliest sound of all.